Welcome to the Three Principles Global Community webinar. The Three Principles Global Community, 3PGC, is a non-profit organisation committed to bringing an understanding of the three principles as introduced by Sydney Banks to people throughout the world. Our guest speaker today is Ana Ferrari. She was born in Argentina and has been living in New Zealand since 2006. Ana has been a spiritual seeker from an early age and has always been fascinated by the power of thought to create feelings in our lives. Ana has seen firsthand how this understanding has helped her through difficult life situations and has dedicated herself to sharing this knowledge with others. Ana is now a Three Principles practitioner and also an artist who uses her creativity to help others connect with their inner wisdom. She teaches kids and the elderly about the power of creativity through presence, helping them to tap into their innate creativity and to find joy in the present moment. Ana hosts a weekly Three Principles community meeting and a coaching hour in her Facebook group, Keep It Simple, Three Principles of Understanding. Through these gatherings, she helps people explore the principles in a supportive and nurturing environment, offering guidance and pointing to where they can find greater peace and happiness in their lives. In 2022, Ana became a Heartfelt Presence host, further deepening her understanding of the principles and helping others to do the same. She firmly believes that this understanding is fundamental to experiencing happiness and well-being, and is passionate about sharing it with as many people as possible. Today, Ana is speaking with us about the feeling of insight. Welcome, Ana.
Thank you so much, Justine. It was so lovely to hear you reading my bio. And just really appreciate the opportunity that life brought to me to be here today with you guys. I am very honored to be sharing with this very loving and supportive community that has been so fundamental for me to coming home. So thank you, Justine, for all you do. Thank you for everybody that is a volunteer at the 3PGC. And I always like to be in touch with volunteer organizations. I like to volunteer myself. I used to coordinate volunteers, and I feel there is really an act of love in doing. When something feels worth sharing, it can have a beautiful impact in the world. It's just a beautiful feeling to give. When Justine asked me, okay, what are you going to talk about? What is it going to be about? I was completely blank. And to be honest, when I chose the feeling of insight, it was a little bit like just picking something and saying, okay, let's go with this. And to be honest, I've been thinking that maybe that's just wisdom, not even my own personal choice, but something say, just go with this. Go with the simplicity of the feeling, the beautiful feeling. So I feel that the feeling of insight is more relatable than we think it is. You know, we think about an insight like a big revelation that changes everything. And that is true. There is that aspect to insight. But there is also that moment when you casually realize something like, oh, that's where I left my keys. It's like, oh, this is where you are now. Something that it seemed to have been covered for us, it becomes clear and comes to the front. And that feeling is, you know, as Sydney Banks talks about us being a beautiful feeling. We are a beautiful feeling. We have a beautiful feeling. That feeling is it's our true essence coming forward in our lives. And it's been coming forward for us from the moment we were born. And probably it's just been a little bit unnoticed, because most of my life I spent it up here trying to rationalize how I felt or problem solve how I felt. And that's another thing that we can find very relatable. So when we have an insight, when we realize something, there is usually a feeling of openness. It's almost like a feeling of ease or relaxation or new possibilities. And I noticed that most of the time that feeling gets, we bounce off the feeling because we start thinking about the content of the insight. So that's something that I notice in myself a lot. And sometimes I notice when I share with people, most of the time when I talk with clients or with guests on the Heartfelt Presence website, I can hear such a beautiful wisdom coming from people. But very quickly there is something else that comes in and it says, yeah, but. And it's almost like bulldozes everything that we've seen and just send us again in that wild goose chase. So when I came to the principles, I listened to Sydney Banks, and I always felt like I had this nose for truth. Something in me had a matching piece when I hear something that resonated. So when we hear something that resonates, it's like an effortless understanding. It just goes through and we feel it. So what I took as a way of going about my intellect was to listen without thinking about what was being said. Because in that way, there was something that would just come right through. It will touch a space in me, which is the home, where being is, where truth is, where all truth. And all the rest, all the stuff that I didn't understand, I decided that I was going to be okay with not understanding it. I wasn't even going to try to understand it. And that made me quite accepting of the things that I didn't know yet, that I couldn't understand yet, that I was hoping one day I would see, but I wasn't seeing in the moment. So I didn't engage in intellectual thinking about what I was hearing. So the feeling, we can all hear truth, no matter where you are, who you are, we can all hear truth. That's something that is part of our innate capacity for evolution. So how will we know when we hear truth? We feel it. Our minds probably will have something to say about it, but the feeling of something being touched is there for us as a signpost to where we are, because that's the within that Sid was talking about. That each one of us is a door into our own true self, our own higher self. And something that I hear yesterday that really resonated, and I hope to do justice as I share this, is Sydney Banks, or possibly every mystic that ever lived has said, you have a true essence. But the true essence can only be found in ourselves, by ourselves. So that's where that beautiful feeling, that feeling of insight, that feeling of calm, beauty, peace, love, relaxation is the most wonderful contribution that Sydney Van had to give us, is to point to that feeling, because we find ourselves in that feeling. We found the truth of who we are in that feeling. We may have a lot of thinking about who we think we are, but there is an innate essence in all of us. And we can go into that depth, little by little, following the beautiful feeling, learning to see what is already present in our lives. I made a few one-liners. And this is one that I was saying before, but I'll say it again. It says, your true nature cannot be found in books. You'll have to find it for yourself, in yourself. And this is where I believe the ones that you learn to recognize your true self, it will keep on guiding you deeper and deeper into who you are. And it would raise your level of consciousness. And everything that concerns you at the level of the intellect will be taken care of. And I call this our innate capacity for evolution. We are all capable of deep, new, beautiful thoughts. And we're all capable of recognizing truth when we hear it. When we hear it from our hearts. It's almost like we feel it with our entire body. It doesn't need any thinking. It's just is. So even sometimes when we feel confused, that's a step up. Because I'm now not so sure that there is something wrong with me. The more sure I am of something, the less places to go I have. But when we are confused, for example, the role of thought, how is it that we believe these thoughts that create these feelings? We don't have to find answers. We can just be and know that we are, and the answers will come to meet us. This is probably sounds very laid back. And I can remember being very much thinking that I needed to go and find the answers in the books and the recordings and different modalities. And all I was doing was trying to find myself. I was trying to find myself in the wall of form. Because that's what I've been looking for since I was a young little girl, writing poems. I will find in my heart and my soul. And there comes Sydney Banks and says, you are a beautiful feeling. Your true essence is, its nature is contentment, calm, peace, clarity. It just is. And in that silence, Sydney Banks says, you're looking for silence. We can call it true nature. We can call it stillness. We can call it God, the universe. But if you don't listen to the word and feel what the words are pointing to, not with the intellect, giving yourself time to let something land. When we hear truth, it's like something that starts going deeper. And if we don't start thinking about it, we will be taken deeper in new thoughts, new ideas, new perspectives will just come to meet us. So this feeling of insight is, it doesn't have content. And that's what makes it impactful. It doesn't need a thought. So every moment of insight is like a tiny, Sid talks about the state of no thought. Every time we have an insight, our thoughts quiet down and we are present. Hello. My cat says hello every time he walks from the lawn. Yes. Okay. I told Justine that this was going to happen at some point. So I appreciate your listening so much, and I hope you got a nice feeling. I think Oreo should be the coach, because every time he shows up, he lights up the room. He's just trying to chase a fly. Okay, darling, you can go there to chase. Yeah, you go chase the fly. He wants to go there. So I would like to know if you guys have any questions. Let's just go into a bit of a conversation about what's happening for you.
Thank you, Ana. And so anyone you can raise your digital hands if you like under reactions, or you can just unmute yourself, and questions or comments for Ana are welcome.
There is no questions or comment. That's absolutely okay too. I can keep sharing. I'm sure there will be something. So I think everybody here has been in touch, in contact with the principles, to more or less degrees. I was going to ask if someone was brand new to the principles, but I think I know most names.
I was curious, Ana,
yes,
when you said that the feeling of insight doesn't have to have any content, any thought with it. It's like, oh, is the quiet space itself, when there's like no thought, is that insight too? I guess I've always thought of insight as being connected to a new thought.
It can be. It can be. For me, the new thought was like, oh, that's what he meant. But the knowing is happening without any thinking. It's when you get the joke, someone says a joke and you don't get it, and then you get it. It's like, oh, I get it now. that understanding, it comes with a tranquilizing effect. It's a softening, which is the intellect is always into creating tension and finding release for that tension. So it's inside, it's a sight from within. That's who we are. That feeling is our true essence. And when we get glimpses or bursts or Cindy Banks, he probably got it all at once. We're speculating here, but it's a moment of no thought. The state of meditation is the state of knowing that you know, knowing that you don't know, or knowing that you are confused. There is a constant, which is the knowing. That's who we are at all times. That we interact with the thoughts and we get carried away and we get bonded to our thinking and we start believing that's who we are. That's why Sid talks about our true identity. We have a spiritual, essential, innate identity. And then we have the identity that started at some point, when say, well, you're Ana, you're a woman, you're human, you like these things. And we start thinking that's who we are. We come from the formless. Once upon a time, we weren't. There was just the isness, and we come from that formless through our parents, particularly our mothers, and we turn into form, and we forget all about where we come from. We're always facing the world of form. Our attention is always engaging with the world of form, and form being also our own thinking about ourselves. So if I'm thinking a lot about myself, I'm solidifying the idea that that self is real. And if it's real, it needs protection. And it needs, fixing and bettering and developing and all of that. But if who we are is that deeper essence, we're just having a human experience, playing the game of life, learning to remembering who we truly are. That's the opportunity of this lifetime. We can just go back home, and we can know that sometimes our consciousness is going to be down in the dumps, so we don't have to make a big deal about it. Just remember that our thoughts are what create our experience, and that everybody goes through periods of having negative or unhelpful thoughts, but that doesn't mean it's who they are. And we can go up in a level of consciousness and feel this wonderful expansive capacity for love and understanding. I just love that, love and understanding, with love and understanding on your heart, It's just nothing goes untouched by that love and by that understanding. So that means you have a loving and an understanding life. And everything we think about, we think about because we think that we have to fix that for them to be happy, for them to be contented. But we have the possibility to be contented every time we remember that it's available to us. Contentment is available to us. You don't have to buy tickets to contentment. You don't have to take a plane to contentment. You can just go back to the moment and find something that you appreciate in your life and just be contented. And you're free to do whatever you want after that. You can it doesn't mean you cannot go for the things that you want, but you won't go into those things trying to find happiness. You already have it. You're already complete. It's all here. It's all available to us. And we can keep on playing the game of life as guided by the feeling of insight, the feeling of curiosity. Sometimes, we can, sorry, just saw the chat. We can have an idea that we don't even know why it's coming to us, but it feels really lovely, and we just go ahead, and then we have another one. And one day down the track, we feel like we see that our life is full of that beautiful feeling.
Ana, shall I read this question out loud that's come through the chat?
Yes. I can read the question.
Okay, thank you, because my chat, I can't find it now.
Beautiful, that's good. Hello, Ana, this is great, thanks. I'm curious how you share this information with two very different generations of people, children and the elderly, please. That's a great question, Robin. I really don't share any information. I just share the feeling of appreciation for who they are, because they are the same essence that I am, in a different disguise, in a different body, and having a different experience. But there is a space of oneness inside of all of us. There's a place where we are all the same energy, the same essence. So when I am with a young person, 6, 7, 8, I just enjoy being there. I enjoy their curiosity, and they ask me for resources, and I enjoy facilitating what they're curious about producing in their art making. I don't try to tell them what to do. I just follow them. I feel very present and grateful to have the opportunity to do what I love for a living. And I listen. Sometimes they come with things, they share things. I can see the mind is already kind of weaving, making up stories. And if the conversation flows in the direction where I can say, what does your common sense tell you about this? Or what do you think will be good? Or how can you understand this person or that person? But it doesn't happen. And to be honest, I love the question because it reminds me now of a tape from Sid, a student teacher, I think it's called. He talks about being a decent human being, being a kind human being, an open-hearted human being, someone that they can feel is on their side. And with the elderly, it's so beautiful. I feel like I get a lot more than what I give. Because when I particularly work through an organization with people that are experiencing different stages of dementia or Alzheimer's, and the essence, it's untouched. So when I talk to them and I look into their eyes and I share the space, I'm just going in for the essence, connecting with that essence. And I have a beautiful experience, and we have a deep connection that doesn't involve memory or remembering. It's just a beautiful experience that it's hard to describe. So when it comes to sharing I don't share information, I just know it and I relate to them as parts of that higher consciousness that I'm getting to know. It's like that higher self that I am is getting to know itself in the form of others. And this brings me to a quote that says, when I look inside and I see that I'm nothing, that is wisdom. When I look outside and I see that I'm everything, that is love. And between those two worlds, my life flows. I really, yes, that's my answer. Thank you so much for the question. There is another question here. Okay, I will read it. It helped me to read it, if that's okay, Justine. Hi, Ana. Despite being in the milieu of trippy for 4.5 years, what is this sort of embedded misunderstanding in me which keeps me entrenched in overthinking and worry loops, ruminating about future and always being catastrophic outcomes? Yes, I do get moments of peace of mind and palpable joy, but rather than the full being calm and contentedness and understanding, I seem to default into worry. Would love your resonance experience with Trippy in this regard. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Divyesh. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Worry is the experience of a thought that says this or that is going to happen. So, do you find worry useful? Does worrying serve you? I don't know if you're available to answer, but is thinking...
I am here, but I'm in a cafe, so I'll shut up and just keep on speaking.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's very considerate. Okay. Yeah, worry, thinking has a very habitual nature. So breaking the habit of, if you believe the worrying is necessary, that you have to worry, or that if you don't worry, something is going to happen, it's like a compulsion. You will be compelled to think about stuff. So that would be a first thing, Second is understanding the nature of thought. Thought creates our experience. So if I have a thought, I'm sitting in this table, in this desk, looking at my computer, and I can have a thought that says, I wonder if my daughter arrived safely home. She's traveling, right? So that thought can parachute and it can take me away, but I don't have to follow. It can, but I don't have to follow. So if you have a thought that is like negative or worrisome, you can hear it and, drop it. Just let it be. The same way that it came, the same way that it's going to go. There is nothing you need to do with them other than just notice that a thought has become present. And we usually experience the feeling first. We feel the tension and then the thought is there. So we think is the other way around. We think that the thought came second, but it's usually because we are aware of the feeling first. So I would say, You say, I do get moments of peace of mind and palpable joy. Great. Wonderful. Just go with it. Just don't think that you need to reach a certain amount of moments of joy to be considered like over the thinking phase where we identify with thought. So if you feel joy, because we're always one moment at a time. One moment at a time. I'm doing two, but it's one. One moment at a time. So the moment you feel joy is a complete moment. It doesn't matter what happens next. That was a complete moment of you experiencing your true self in the form of a beautiful feeling, peace. Now, by habit, we tend to go into thinking. And trust me, I never thought that day will come where I will be like, nah, thinking is too boring. I don't want to think anymore. I was traveling and I was in the car and I was thinking, like, just really indulgent. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, I don't have to do that. I can enjoy the drive, feel the vibration on the steering wheel and look at the road, obviously, and the trees and just be in the moment. Now, I don't think there is nothing particularly wrong, especially we don't really even have to put the issue of time in the mix, how long have I been in the principles and why I haven't seen it yet. So the one thing I would say is whatever you've seen and be grateful for what you've seen. Be grateful for that moment of joy. Be grateful for the moment of contentment. That gratitude is gonna raise your level of understanding. Because a better level of understanding means a better level of feeling. So sometimes all that's happening is I am sitting in my desk, tripping on my own thoughts. That's not a problem. It's something to know, something to become aware, something to wake up from. So when you wake yourself up out of the dreamlike state of thought and thinking, your nightmarish thinking spell, you wake yourself up to the present moment. And also, when you wake yourself up to the present moment, your mind will quiet. Possibly not instantly. It could be thoughts coming and going, but as long as you don't concern yourself too much with them, you're good. There is something really, really mighty intelligence in all of us, and it just needs the opportunity to be trusted and to, we we are like devil's advocates sometimes, Yeah, there is a bit of joy, but what about this and what about the other? And kind of like innocently we forget that whatever you may have seen, even if it feels like a little bit, it's actually a lot. And if you point your attention towards that, it will keep on growing. It will keep on giving you new thoughts, fresh thoughts, realizations. The habits that you thought you needed to break personally, they will just disappear. And the realizations that you thought that you needed to work really hard for, they will just show up one day. So I will go back to listening without trying to understand. Listen without trying to understand what anyone is saying, because I noticed that when I listen to someone that may be in a higher level of consciousness, it's only natural I won't understand it because I haven't seen that yet. My intellect cannot go to that level because it's not via the intellect that we grow, it's via that deeper wisdom. So when we hear with the intellect, is I mean, the intelligence, it's intelligent, nothing is wrong. But if there is something that has really helped me is to just listen for a feeling, listen without trying to understand. feel what comes in naturally, and what I don't understand, I don't have to think about. When it's time for me to understand it, I'll understand it. Sometimes that's one of the things that happens, you know, if we participate in I don't know your experience or what you've been doing, but we're still seeking outside ourselves for answers, but the answer is within. So my job is not to give you answers, but to show you where answers can be found. That is not your intellect. It's that quiet, silent, deep space that has a different, functions in a different way than our mind is used to. I was used to thinking, I was used to thinking that I needed to think really hard about something to figure it out. You know, that's how you find answers, thinking, trying to find the answer outside ourselves. But I am the answer. Our true identity, that essence, is the answer. And that's not going to make sense to the intellect, if you hear that. But that's where all the answers come from. And this includes this habit of yours. Just make peace with it. I'm a warrior. That's okay. It's not who you are. It's something you do. But it's not wrong. And it doesn't mean nothing about you. You're very welcome. I hope you can take a thinking holiday. Give yourself a 5-minute thinking holiday to start, and just find a place, you know, Sid says this over and over. If you can find a place where you can sit down, just let yourself be in the moment, you know, your mind will be active, there will be comments and complaints and all of that. Don't argue with your mind. Just be a kind, open-hearted presence with your mind, and it will settle on its own. It's like, I knew this was going to happen. It's like this, I have this jar, and this jar right now is clear. It's completely clear, you know. That's who we are. We are clarity. Now, when we innocently been thinking a lot, or we identify with our thoughts and think, what happens is this. All of a sudden, we are not so clear. I'm confused now. So I'm confused. So to try to organize this confusion, I'm going to think some more. And then I think more, and then I go to this and the other. And then one day it feels like the clarity is completely lost. The clarity has not gone anywhere, still underneath the glitter. So if I wanted to bring this metaphor of a mind back to clarity, all I have to do is to place it on a flat surface, or not flat, doesn't matter, and let it rest. So let your mind rest. Thank you so much, Ana. I have a sense of clarity and peace. Oh, you're very welcome, Varv. And I hope you know that that's coming from you. We are mirroring that to each other. How wonderful. I have another story that I thought always makes me feel really lovely. I was at the beach and I was looking at the seagulls. And the seagulls, they just take off in a very small space and they land and they glide. And when I saw them landing, it looked so effortless. And I just felt, oh my God, they're built for that. They're built for that. And I thought, what am I built for? And I thought, well, I'm built for being. Being is that is effortless to me. I cannot not be. And I don't have to do anything to be. So we are human beings. And sometimes we innocently become human thinking. One of my favorites is when I become human doing. And if I go back into being, you know, that very simple state of being and knowing that you are can have a big impact in your feeling state. And in the recognition that I am what I'm looking for. And when I say I am what I'm looking for, I'm not saying Ana, I'm saying that I am. And I thank you for the bottom of our hearts. Thank you, Patricia. I always appreciate when you're in Patricia. I know Patricia from Heartfelt Presence, and it's always very authentic. Because sometimes we're authentically messed up. You know, sometimes I'm just up in my head and I feel like I will never come down. And then we have a sleep, and then it's like, oh, and or we start singing a song. Da, da, da. And like, oh my God, I'm singing. Yesterday I was completely in the dumps, and today I'm like, you know. So your true nature cannot be found in the books. You'll have to find it for yourself, in yourself. And that is the beauty of this, that you don't have to believe anything I say. You don't have to follow anyone. You can just look to your own experience. How do I, you know, when negative thoughts start coming, what am I doing with them? Am I feeding them? Am I worrying about them being present? Am I trying to shush them out? Am I trying to medicate them? What's my relationship with my thoughts? Oh, it's quite it's quite conflictive. Well, we're going to feel the effect of it. But if we remember that the nature of thought is to pass, thought comes in, left unattended, it goes out the other way. It's been really lovely to be here with you, all of you. And I will ask again if there is any further questions, comments. If not, it's a beautiful opportunity just to rest in being. It's extremely underrated. Thank you, Olivier. Thank you very much, Olivier. this sharing is such a beautiful thing, because it feels so lovely when you get to express. When I talk about our true nature, our essence, it's a lovely feeling that comes up for me. So to have that lovely feeling for a living is truly a gift from life. I'm very grateful, and to know that each one of us has that same innate capacity to feel good and okay, supported.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today, Ana. It's been beautiful.
You're very welcome. If any of you would like to have another conversation with me, I'm available on my Facebook group. I don't have a very structured practice at the moment, so it's more of a community sharing. Fortnightly, I'm doing a coaching hour where basically, we had the experience last week. There was a group of us, and someone naturally emerged and become the coachee. So it was really lovely to share, and it's a great opportunity to me as well. So if you want to know more about that, the group is called Keep It Simple, 3 Principles of Understanding, and it's on Facebook.
Thank you, Ana. The information that will be written underneath the recording as well.
Ah, super.
People will be able to see
It's
that.
all taken care of.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Patricia.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. That was fabulous. Really appreciate it. It was very enjoyable.